What's going on, everyone? So let's talk about Quincy Olivari because I haven't talked a ton about him on this channel. I know I have over on AS The Lakers Show, but after seeing Dalton Connect and just his eruption recently, I really do think that we need to give a shot to Quincy Olivari, right? Like, again, I'm not saying Quincy Olivari is ready. I'm not saying he's going to be great. I'm not saying anything. I don't know. Why do we not know? Because he hasn't gotten a chance yet. And you look at the options we have right now on the bench, right? I do like that D'Angelo Russell has moved to the bench. I know he had a bad game last game, and it was bad. More so his decision-making, more than anything, right? Like trying to play the hero ball when Dalton Connect is cooking. It's like, no, like, you won't upstage me, Vanderbeek. Like, it's like, come on, man. Like, play the game. Play it the right way. Be smart. Make sure you keep things in order. Also, if you get that reference that I just made, then you're my favorite. But Quincy, right? You look at Gabe Vincent, giving you nothing. He is statistically the worst player in the league right now. His production, he has a worse defensive rating than D'Angelo Russell. Yes, Gabe Vincent, who is supposed to be our defensive stopper at the guard position, has a worse defensive rating right now than D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell is a 120 defensive rating. Gabe Vincent is a 121. Like, the guy is giving you goose eggs. Max Christie, who has not been great either, by any stretch of the imagination, has played almost 100 minutes less than Gabe Vincent, yet has more points, more assists, like triple the rebounds, has the same number of steals, has more blocks, shooting a better three-point percentage and a better two-point percentage. Literally, as bad as Max Christie has been, he has been better in every category than Gabe Vincent, and yet Gabe Vincent is still getting the nod. He is, not my opinion, no, right now is a fact that he is the worst NBA player in the league right now. The guy is shooting like 17% from three-point range. And I don't even think it's that much. I think I'm rounding it up. The guy has been awful in every capacity. Like, he has not been a good basketball player at all. Remember Patrick Beverley a couple years ago when he was on the Lakers? Remember how he was literally the worst offensive player in the league? Yeah, Gabe Vincent is trying to upstage him, right? It's ridiculous. And it's just like, if you're not going to give Max Christie an opportunity to see if he can kind of get out of his slump, like, I'd rather give the chance to the 21-year-old. Also, he gives you more size. He gives you better rebounding, right? Like, I've seen people be like, oh, well, yeah, but Gabe Vincent is a point guard. They're not utilizing him as a point guard. Like, it's not like he's out there, making all these plays. He's literally giving you nothing, right? Max Christie can initiate the offense like Gabe Vincent's doing, right? And most of the time, it's D'Lo, especially with D'Lo coming off the bench. You don't need Gabe Vincent to be the initiator. Right? Like, you have LeBron and Reeves in the starting unit, and you have D'Lo in the bench unit. Right? So you might as well play Max Christie. Right? And then hope that he kind of figures it out at some point. But beyond that, and even if you do decide to start playing Max Christie, I would still at least give a look to Quincy Olivari. Obviously, you can't give him a roster spot right now, right? Because he is on a two-way, and the Lakers are 15 players tied up, right? They can't waive anybody. They're only $35,000 from the second apron, and all the contracts are guaranteed. So even if they waive somebody, it doesn't change their cap situation. So you're kind of stuck. But he can play 50 games. Let him get some run now, and let's evaluate him early on and kind of see, like, okay, where is he? Is he ready? Is he comfortable? Right? And I don't mean just like one game. I mean, like, let's let him get a couple games, get 10 games early on, and let's see how he looks. Let's see how he does. Or are we going to have to wait for somebody to be out for that? And then even then, right? Like, because giving Quincy an opportunity gives you a couple things. One, it gives you kind of an early evaluation and an idea of, like, okay, if we do pull off a trade at some point, right, is he ready? Can we bring him in, or do we need to bring in somebody else, right? Like, do we need to hit up Jordan Goodwin and be like, hey, buddy, right? Like, we need you, right? Especially if you're trading like a Gabe Vincent and a D'Lo and stuff like that, right? Like, you may end up needing Quincy. And I'd rather already kind of have an idea of what to expect from him than like, oh, hey, let's do it now And if it doesn't work, then what? Right? Like now you're kind of in this spot where it's like, oh, well, we should have maybe, done our due diligence earlier. But also you can start getting him some confidence. And if it does work out, then now you can kind of make decisions accordingly. Right? So then maybe it's like, okay, like he's able to hold his own. He's able to shoot. So maybe we don't really need. What if he's great defensively and shooting the basketball? What if he is what we're looking for Gabe Vincent to be? Right? So then maybe that's one less need you have. Right? So now maybe instead of going and getting like a Bruce Brown or something like that, you're like, we got Quincy. He's handling that. He can kind of play that role. Right? Let him get comfortable in that spot. If he's not afraid of the moment, if he's ready to go, okay, cool. Kind of, let him play in even some of these like in-season tournament games, right? I mean, these are incredibly competitive games. Like teams are taking this serious, right? Kind of get an evaluation from him. Like, is moments too big for him? Is he fine? Like, what does he look like to, and when you're trailing, what does he look like when you're starting or, not starting, but having a lead, right? Like those kind of things, right? Kind of just get little evaluations on Quincy Olivari to know, okay, if he's good and he's what we need, and he's able to do it consistently, then maybe you're looking at other spots. Maybe you are looking at other things. Maybe now, again, it's like, okay, we don't have to choose between these two guys. It's like Quincy's taking that role. So let's go get a Cam Johnson. Right? Let's go get a Jeremy Grant. Right? Like, let's trust the young guy to handle business. We always have LeBron, like, if we need a backup point guard in the playoffs, right? If Quincy starts panicking or pulling a D-Lo in the playoffs or something like that, which one, he's a rookie, it'd be fine, but I mean, you don't want that, but get my point, right? Like you have other guys, right? You still have LeBron, like, hey, LeBron, sorry, you got to play point guard, right? Like, we're trying to win a championship here, right? Like you figure it out if you have to, especially if you've gotten other needs rather than wasting assets to get a guy when you don't really need that guy, when you have a guy in Quincy that may be able to cover that. And his shooting would be so warranted. Imagine Quincy, what we've seen from Quincy, right? Imagine that in this style of offense we're running right now. Imagine the quality of looks he'd get. Imagine him getting the looks that D'Lo and Reeves and these other guys are getting. To have him and Dalton Connect, especially if Dalton Connect can kind of continue to take strides, kind of come into his own. I'm not saying he has to give you 19 a game. I'm not even saying Quincy has to come and give you 20 a game or anything like that. But, if like Quincy could come in and just consistently knock down the three ball, play some hard-nosed defense. He's literally the exact same size as Gabe Vincent. Literally. They're both 6'3", or listed as 6'3". I think Quincy's actually bigger than Gabe, so either one's bigger or, Gabe Vincent's not really 6'3". But both are listed at 6'3", 200, 205, right? So, like, they are literally the exact same size, right? Except one is capable of shooting the basketball, has better athleticism, can get to the rim, pull up in the mid-range. Oh, and also, like we saw against the Phoenix Suns, actually get after it defensively. Right? At least be better than Gabe Vincent's been. Again, Gabe Vincent's been worse than D'Angelo Russell. Right? Like, I don't know why you don't at least give him a look. I'm not saying you have to play him 40 minutes a game. But you don't think he's at least with his first G League game, he gave you, 28, 10, and 6? On like 70% shooting or something crazy like that? Right? He's clearly better than the G League. He's clearly not a G League player. Right? Which is good. That's what you want to see. Is he an actual NBA player? We saw him against the Phoenix Suns and all of their starters and key bench guys, and we watched Quincy light them up. Even when he was the only guy, and they were literally doing everything they can to slow him down, and he was still cooking them. Right? And we saw him be able to do that. Now, one game is one game, right? You need to be able to see him do that consistently. And I'm not saying he has to go get you 20 or whatever, but, whatever it is, 8 points, 6 points. It can't be worse than Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent is averaging like 18 minutes a game and averaging 2.9 points per game. If Quincy averages 4 points per game, that's better than Gabe Vincent. Right? Like, again, it's as long as Quincy Olivari has better than a 121 defensive rating, that's better than Gabe Vincent. If Quincy Olivari came in and gave you 4 points and had a 119 defensive rating, which still isn't good, still terrible, right? That's still better than Gabe Vincent. by a good margin, right? Like, give me that. Plus, he's shown the ability to rebound. Gabe Vincent he's not even averaging 1 rebound a game. Quincy Olivari, I am pretty confident in saying that I think he gives you at least 1 rebound a game. Again, Gabe Vincent, he's a veteran. And I know people look at it, oh, it's the playoffs, right? He's going to show up in the playoffs. He's great in the playoffs. He's had 1 excellent playoff stint. Like, we don't know if that was just an outlier. We've seen plenty of guys have incredible outlier series and games and moments and all that stuff. And they're never able to replicate it. But also, you have to make the playoffs, right? I don't care what Gabe Vincent does in the playoffs if we don't make the playoffs. If he's not helping us get to the playoffs and he never gets the chance to show what he can do in the playoffs, then who cares what he can do in the playoffs, right? Like, I'd rather give me the guy that is, even half decent in the regular season and half decent in the playoffs, but actually helps contribute and get us to the playoffs. And he's young, and he is a piece that we're looking at for now in the future, so he can maybe get into a rhythm, and who knows, maybe he's our point guard of the future, right? Maybe we finally find our answer, right? Especially if he can defend, hit the 3 ball, and initiate the offense, right? Like, boom, there you go, right? He's shown that he's got athleticism, he can get by the defender. It doesn't hurt to give him a look. I'm actually very surprised we haven't at least given him a look. Gabe Vincent's been terrible. Maybe it's just, Lakers are trying to be patient and see if he can kind of get out of his slump. Sure. But in the by game 15, if Gabe Vincent has not figured it out and turned it around, which, spoiler alert, we'll be there in a week. If he hasn't figured it out in these next 4 games or whatever, I think you need to give Quincy Olivari a look. I don't think it hurts, right? We keep calling up Bronny James and Maxwell Lewis and all these other guys. Now, granted, they're actually on the roster, Jalen Ushafino, Bronny James, and Maxwell Lewis, but still, call up and bring in Quincy Olivari and, let him, can we get, 10 games to kind of evaluate and see what he's capable of? Kind of get a feel for him and then make a decision, right? Kind of get an idea, okay, what does he look like? Or 5 games and just see, is he terrible? Is he half decent? Right? You could even do it accordingly. Give him 3 games. Okay. He was terrible in 1. Okay in the other. Really good in another. All right, let's give him another 3. Oh, okay. He was really good in 2. Terrible in another. Right? Let's give him 3 more. Hey, he wasn't really good in any of them, but he was solid in all 3. Right? You can kind of, even if he's not oh my goodness. Again, what do you have to lose? Go let Quincy Olivari play. I hope we get reports and news, at least at the time of recording this video. We don't have any information that Quincy Olivari plays. I hope that while you're watching this video, we got news that Quincy got called up or whatever. Please, fingers crossed. I'm praying and hoping. I hope you are too. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think yes, please play Quincy Olivari, bring him up, call him up, let him get some run. Let's see what this kid is capable of doing. Can't be worse than Gabe Vincent, right? So what do you have to lose? Do you think no, kind of let him spend the year developing in the G League? I like the idea. If you're going to pull off a trade at some point, wouldn't it be nice to kind of get a feel if Quincy's ready? Right? If you need a roster spot, if you need to fill a spot, wouldn't it be nice to know, okay, Quincy's a guy that can fill that spot or not? Right? Look at what Dalton Connect's been able to do. Dalton Connect hasn't been great. He was last game, don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about overall. He's had his roller coaster, right? He's had good games. He's had bad games. He's had he was solid these games, right? Even if Quincy's just that, it's better than when Dalton Gabe Vincent's giving you, right? So again, what do you have to lose? Even if Quincy is just mirrored Dalton Connect, where it's 1 out of every 10 games he gives you 18, 19. And then the other games he's 6 to 8. Again, it's better than what Gabe Vincent's giving you. But again, I feel whatever your thoughts are. Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.